It's finally that time where I get to say that my Grand Theft Auto marathon journey has finally come to an end, so to speak. And today, as you can see here, I have finished GTA 5 with my trusty handy guidebook that was meant for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 for its time. But yeah, I finished the game as of me recording this video for the third time in a row. I played this game back when it came out back in 2013. I then replayed it again when it was re-released for the Xbox One and for the PlayStation 4. And now I finished this for the third time in a row for the PlayStation 5 specifically. And I want to talk about this because this is a game that, for years, ever since its debut release in 2013, this was pretty much high up there. It was actually in my top five, top three favorite GTA games. And the reasons and the validity of it made a lot of sense for its time. So to make no mistake, GTA 5 is an incredible game in its own right. And to many, this is probably for many who grew up in the 2010s, so to speak, this may be everyone's first introduction to Grand Theft Auto. So it makes a whole lot of sense why this is in their top three, top five in the modern day and age. But as someone who has played the classics like GTA 4 and San Andreas and Vice City Stories, to name a few, I think 5 is not a perfect game that everyone has stated for years. But before we dive into like the nitty gritty of things, right? Let's talk about the positives, shall we? So first and foremost, let's go off with the obvious stuff, the gameplay. So from the basic mechanics such as driving, flying a plane, helicopters, driving a boat, I think the driving in this game is as smooth, crisp, clean. It's crazy to think that given that this game came out back in 2013, that with each new re-release that this game has garnered, because like I said, it was released for the re-release for the past 13 freaking years, I can tell that Rockstar has put like little details and vast little improvements to making the game more smoother, more cleaner, and a lot more accessible to those who want to get into Grand Theft Auto. So right off the bat, the driving in this game, it's not like how it was with GTA 4 for everyone that's been bitching, complaining about how the driving in that game sucks ass. Personally, I thought GTA 4's driving was really good. I think it was the best that the series had to offer. But in 5's case, they made it a lot more easier, a lot more simple. At times, I kind of felt like playing Midnight Club 3 or Midnight Club LA for anyone who's a huge Midnight Club fan. And given that the driving is smooth, buttery, and you can just do ramp jumps and all that shit is nice. I also think that they mastered the way you pilot your airplanes, your helicopters. This is easily the best piloting mechanics for those type of the flying vehicles that the game of any GTA game has to offer. The boats in this game also run really smooth, from jet skis to the various boats you can pilot. It's really creative. And the weapon system in this game is out there. It is vast. It is big. Your creativity of how you use certain weapons, the upgrades you can put on them, the attachments is endless. And like I said, you can do a lot of creative kills with this. You can do a lot of creative moments to self explosions. GTA 5 has you covered in that every dynamic. And another thing too that I will also want to highlight that's pretty basic is the map. So the map of Los Santos is not only a clear image and is based upon the real life of Los Angeles, but there are hints of this map that is giving off GTA San Andreas, given like the Vinewood sign is obvious paying homage to it. And then you have certain areas in the hood that is reminiscent of Grove Street, or what would it be like if Grove Street was in the modern day and age, right? And then there's like the countryside feel where it kind of gives off again GTA San Andreas. So in its own credit, in its own respects, I think GTA 5 is somewhat a successor to GTA San Andreas, at least in terms of some of the little parts of the map that it clearly references to. Now, when it comes to playing the main GTA story and what the game has to offer, the story of GTA 5 at this point, if you've been under the radar for the past 13 years, is honestly one of the more iconic stories that you've come across. And keep in mind, GTA 5 was one of, if not the first game to introduce like being able to play three different main protagonists. So instead of just one that you've seen from 4 and beyond below, in 5's case, you now get to play as Franklin, as Michael, and as Trevor. And these three main characters are the people you come to know, and within their stat lines, they have their strengths of what they excel at and their weaknesses. So, in a way, it does, again, borrow a lot of the similar ideas that San Andreas was able to set the stage of what was to come. And I like that. I thought that's really cool, and it showcased like some really cool quirks. And yes, it is possible to 100% max out all three of the main protagonist stats if you wanted to for the sake of doing it. But by then, it's kind of like, what's the point? You can just switch over to another character without any issues whatsoever. And the gameplay itself, when it comes to doing these missions, are just so good that it enhances the story of GTA 5 in its own right. So I honestly don't think I need to talk about GTA 5 story in a nutshell because everyone who has played GTA 5 or has heard about it or has seen clips of it online should know how the story goes from beginning to end. And all I can say is that the story for GTA 5 to this day is one of, if not memorable, and iconic in its own right. It does have some plot holes and some shortcomings, which we'll get into in a little bit, but the story and the mission gameplay is really fun, really bombastic, and there are some amazing highlights with some characters that I want to shout out. Such as, if we had to narrow down like the main three characters that are my favorite between Franklin, Michael, and Trevor, I am now a huge Michael DeSanta fan in this game after replaying this. I think Michael's character is incredible. His love towards, his past life, but also making sure that he is a family man by the end of the day is so good, really profound. Sure, you can also argue the fact that, maybe Trevor Phillips is a lot more fun of a character to play around, or Franklin is another fun character to play around. But I don't know, like, as I was playing through every character, doing all the weird Strangers and Freaks missions, doing everything imaginable, I think Michael's character and the amount of extra side content that Michael had out of the other two was just more fascinating and more, like, interesting to get into out of the other two main characters. So I think that's what I would narrow it down to. And then some highlights also would be like another character like Lamar Davis. Lamar Davis, after playing through this game for the third time in a row, I this might be a bit of a stretch, so to speak, but I think that Lamar Davis is what would happen if Sweet from GTA San Andreas was revamped in the modern day and age, because the way he talks, his personality actually reminds me of Sweet to an extent, especially towards the very tail end after it be Lamar's down mission in GTA 5, which I actually thought was really cool and honestly made Lamar Davis become one of my favorite characters in GTA 5 once again. And if we have to narrow it down to like the big, like who's like the biggest, most iconic antagonist in GTA 5, I would have to say out of the three that's out there that I think are memorable and it's all right, it would be Steve Haynes from the FIB. Again, Steve Haynes, in my opinion, is another reason to just hate corrupt cops and corrupt people who are in the system. And Steve's performance was dealt with so well. And to go into the other main characters like Devin Weston and Stretch and Wei Chang of the drug Asian company, what have you, unfortunately, those villains in this game, in my opinion, become pretty forgettable in its own right. The biggest example is Stretch. Stretch becomes like a pretty integral part of Franklin and Lamar's like life after he got out of prison. And sure enough, Stretch is the one that is responsible for setting those two up multiple times to the point that Stretch actually just becomes nothing more than a background character or a side quest character at the end of it all. And again, he did get his comeuppance towards the very end of the game, which is amazing. But for me, I do think that there are some massive shortcomings with some of the villains here. And the only person that was just memorable in his own right was Steve Haynes, in my personal opinion. So that's what I would give it that. And also, I want to shout out one more character with Lester. Now, this isn't 100% confirmed, but I'm going to say it right here with my chest held high. I think that Lester and Zero from GTA San Andreas are the same two people. Yes, they're under the same different voice actors respectfully, right? But from the way Zero acts, and if you know San Andreas, you know how Zero is, that fucking degenerate piece of shit. Like Zero feels like what would happen if Lester was much younger. And I feel like the connection between the two are so intertwined that you can't ignore that shit. But either way, Lester in GTA 5 this time around is really good, really iconic. I also think that he does provide much of the backbone as to how Michael, Franklin, and Trevor's relationship becomes so close bonded in the first place. And I really like that about this game a lot, and how each of the characters and stuff just bounce off of each other in a way where it just continues the momentum, continues the story itself. Now, when it comes to like how these characters intertwine with each other, the heist missions, which is the biggest thing I want to point out here, is what makes the bread and butter of this game. Because at the end of the day, how are you going to make money to survive GTA 5 itself? We gotta go through some goddamn heists and rob some money, of course. So in total, there are 6 different heist missions in this game, and out of the 6 that I can narrow down to, that's the top 3 that are my favorite. Easily, it will be the jewel store job, which is the first one you do. That's a favorite. The Paleo score is another favorite of mine. Also, the big score, which is the final big what have you to end all big scores, is also another favorite as well. And in the heist missions, you get to follow a direct path and choose different alternatives of how you want to do it. In some cases, maybe a subtle, quiet sneak attack approach. On the other hand, maybe just go obvious, go straight to the ringer dinger, rob them at gunpoint, have the cops could be flying at you within 30 seconds. So there's so much like different objectives and like different plays you can do when doing these heist missions. And I feel like in a weird sort of way, because you're making these decisions yourself, you're setting your team up for success. It kind of, in a way, is building off of that GTA 4 formula where you had 2 different options and 2 different outcomes that you have to choose from. And it's up to you as the player to choose who you want to go up against, if that makes sense. And again, in the heist missions, it's really cool because like it kind of provides a little bit more side quest story and a little bit of background lore with specific heist missions you choose from in GTA's heist missions. The biggest example of this, and I'm pretty sure it's not even a spoiler at this point, if you choose Packy McCreary during the Paleo score, he does like a little bit of a breakdown and like a reminiscence, like, oh yeah, remember that big heist we did back in GTA 4? That shit was fire. It was amazing, and he explains it in full detail with Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. I thought that was really cute and really sets like how 2 worlds just combine and blow into one big world as it is. I think it's really cool. But with that being said, I do have some things about 5 that are a bit of a low point. I've even broke it down when I made my video talking about my hot takes of the game itself. So obviously I'm not going to list them here because you can check it out yourself. But like I said, one of the biggest complaints now that I have to say after playing through GTA 5 and exploring everything that you could about the map, because keep in mind, I was doing every small little activity I possibly could, from doing all the 100 collectibles from everywhere out of the wazoo, to doing every race out of the wazoo, parachuting, tennis, yoga, um, basically buying anything I possibly can, going ballistic with the robberies of everywhere I went. I can honestly say that the game, after playing through this for the 3rd time in a row, kind of goofing off after the epilogue mission that happens when you finish the game, I honestly feel like I would never ever play GTA 5 story ever again. And the reason being is that the game itself feels really empty. And I don't know if it's just me, and maybe this is like a pretty big bias take at the end of the day, but I don't know. Like, when I remember playing through every GTA game from 3, from Vice City to San Andreas, both of the stories, even doing the DLCs for GTA 4, there was still so much you could have done after beating the game completely in those games. And in Five's case, it feels like I explored the entirety of the map. I explored every little detail from the highest of the mountains to the deepest of the seas. And I don't know, I just feel like there isn't anything else left for me to do in GTA 5, especially given that now, when you look at where GTA 5's current state is, it's super heavy focused on GTA Online. And yes, I'm aware that as of me recording this video right here, right now, that I still have GTA Online left to talk about and maybe rant about, right? And again, even despite every praise that I can throw out of the wazoo with GTA 5 and the music to the gameplay and everything else alike, right? I don't know. Something about GTA 5 for some reason just doesn't make me want to replay this game again. Whereas a game like Vice City, for example, which was such a difficult game to beat when I was playing through it once again, despite how difficult it was, it made me want to replay the game because there's so much character, so much charisma. There's so much going for it that even after you beat the game itself, you still have a lot left to do, and you're excited to explore every little detail of GTA Vice City's map in all its full glory. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a lot older now, and plus, given that this came out in 2013, so I was a young middle school kid at that point. Like, I don't know, maybe GTA 5 just isn't hitting the same notes as it once did when I first played it. Who knows? But I don't know. For me, at the end of the day, that's what it just boils down to. GTA 5 is a game that I love in every way, shape, or form, and I respect to this day. But this is just a game that I would never see myself playing the full story from beginning to end ever again because I've seen it so many times already. I played through it so many times already. Why would I want to go through and waste my time even more trying to unlock whatever little content is left in the game itself? But either way, I mean, overall, to recap and throw it back now, GTA 5 for me is really good. It's still a really fun game to play even after 13 years later. And now that we're pretty much at the very end of my marathon, the only thing left I have left to talk about would probably be GTA Online, which would be at another time, another place. And of course, GTA 6, which is the whole reason I started this marathon. It was mainly just for the fact that with GTA 6 coming around the corner, I cannot wait to play this game. I know you cannot wait to play that game. And when that game comes out, you bet your sweet bippity I wish to talk about it. So yeah, GTA 5, it's a good game, a respectable game, and that's it. That's all I want to talk about. And let me know down below if you love GTA 5, I suppose. And God, I don't know why I'm fucking yapping. That's it. I'll see you on the next one later.